Good afternoon. This is Passionate Bliss, and I am here with this week's episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. The ladies have gotten back from Scotland after they were bickering and ruined Phaedra's birthday weekend, and they have returned. K. Michelle pulled Shamia aside and says she was upset. She's disappointed. She does not want this breakup to become her story and who she is. I agree with her. It's old. Let it go. Y'all have said the worst. You've done the worst. You've gone below the belt. Now let's let it go. So once again, Shamia apologizes. Then Shamia has a Halloween party. She invites all the ladies. Porsha says, F you, I'm not coming. And everybody comes, including K. Michelle. She comes for her scene. So they're at the party. They're trying to guess whose butt mold is who, because Shamia has gone into a weird partnership with a company from, I think, Grenada, to sell their peach, and she's calling it rum bum. It's peach flavored rum. And so she had them make molds of their bums, and they tried to guess whose bum was who, which was corny, but they were doing this anyway to promote her and this wine company. However, it looks like she's just as much of an airhead as she seems when she's in these business meetings. She comes off as an airhead in front of her lawyer. When she's talking to him, she comes off as an airhead when she's dealing with these people, trying to be cute, a sex kitten. And now it looks like the people are treating her like an airhead because they've sent her a contract that is not what they agreed to. But she has also previously stated that she's already given them almost six figures. So my question is, as a businesswoman, why are you investing six figures when you don't have a clear-cut contract stating what your legal obligations are and what you're legally entitled to? She intended to have 50% ownership in the American distribution, and they sent her a contract saying, no, you're just going to be able to buy. You can buy from us as a supplier and sell in America. That's not ownership at all. And so these people, it's a black-owned business, they don't want to give her no ownership of their product, which I don't fault them for. But again, why did you invest almost six figures if you're not getting the ownership deal you thought you were? And so we'll see how that goes. It looks like she's a failure at friendships and a failure at business as well. So she's having the Halloween party. She looks adorable, dressed up as one of the creatures from the Avatar. And she's all with this blue powdered makeup on that looks really cute. And so the ladies all have on different costumes. They all look various degrees of cute. And they're out there. And once again, they try to settle the differences amongst themselves. Shamia is apologizing yet again for her behavior and the low blows at the party. And she's again playing the victim role where she's being picked on. She feels like we all understand that. She apologizes again for making everybody uncomfortable. They say, well, she should apologize to Porsha, but she's not sorry. So why would she apologize to Porsha? She's only sorry that you guys are upset with her. So her apology is actually appropriate. She's not sorry for anything she said to Porsha. She's been ready to have this fight with Porsha, and now they're having it. Okay. And so they then move on to try to discuss the rumor of Angela Oakley stating that Shamia slept with this guy, George. George's wife is here, and she's here to say that that was a lie. And as timing would have it, Angela Oakley arrives at the time to defend her name and say, look, man, what I'm talking about predates you, so you really don't know what we're talking about. So basically be quiet. And the woman acts like a little girl and basically shuts up until Angela explains her side and says that, no, the only lie was that she told you I said you said it, but your husband is the one that said it. So good timing once again. The husband comes in and Angela mentions it to him, what was said, because she believes she's telling the truth. So this guy says, oh, he does. He said, no, that's not true. That and then she says, you said it on the mic. And then he kind of, you can visibly see that he recalls what he said. And at that moment he says, well, I did say something to that effect, but I was just joking. And so he apparently made a sexual innuendo, and Angela Oakley took it as the truth and repeated it as if it was true. And he's saying that it was a joke that went bad and it was not true. So they all are letting it go. So Angela's not the liar, and then also Shamia is not the, adulterous wife. So they move on past that, and for some reason, while they're participating in the rum bum contest, this child, what's her name? She tells a lot of lies. She's not my favorite person. Her name is always hard for me to remember. She's the actress, and she, she brings in some guy that we don't know of who supposedly wants to date her. and he brings her a horse to someone else's Halloween party, calls everybody outside that's a cast of the Housewives of Atlanta for him to present her with a horse while she's dressed up as cowboy, cowboy Carter for this party. And he brings her a horse, and they're all supposed to come outside and marvel at this horse, which is weird at Shamia's party. The one that's an actress, what's her name? I don't really care to remember her name. I do want to remember it. I just don't know why I can't remember it. Because, she's probably my least interesting, but not my least favorite, because Kelly is my least favorite. Kelly can actually leave the show. And then after that, her. And you wouldn't notice they were gone. The one that was married to Ralph. Drew Sidora, that's her name. And the crazy thing is, she thinks she's a big star, but people can't even remember her name, off and on. I remember Kelly's name more than I remember Drew Sidora's. But she drags them all outside for some guy that we don't know and we've barely seen, who looks weird, to give her a horse. Okay? And so Porsha has cursed out Shamia and says she's not coming to the party. You're a weirdo. And so Porsha instead goes bowling. And Mike Bliss is there. I do not believe that Mike Bliss is any more her real boyfriend than, any of the men that was brought on by the other one that used to hire paid actors. What was her name? Another one that was also a B-list actress, right along with Drew Sidora, that got kicked off by Kelly and her friend. Anyway, I believe that Mike Bliss, he's an actor. I believe Porsha has hired him as a paid actor to be her boyfriend on this show. And now that she started dating the woman, Sway, who's really a billionaire and is a lesbian, and she really likes this person. So now she's trying to phase Mike Bliss on out and make out like him wanting children is the reason why things are going to end. And her real relationship that I think emerged in the middle of the season after she started shooting, she's going to go ahead and let that be on camera, since Sway, her lesbian lover, is not opposed to being on camera with her. And I think that's who Porsha really likes anyway. And you can tell the way they get along. And another hint that this guy's acting is that he tells everyone at the table, oh, I'm in love with Porsha. He tells K. Michelle, her husband, and Porsha, oh yeah, I'm in love with her. And he's never told Porsha this before. That's not something that a man springs on a woman at a table while he's talking to her friends. He's not even telling that to her. He's telling her friends that at a table on camera. Because this is all for the show. Okay, so now it's going to look like Porsha has a huge decision to make, which one she's going to pick, and then she's going to tell him, I don't want to have a baby. He's already told her that's a deal breaker. So, I mean, I guess she have to have a love interest to be on the show. So she paid one. Let's give him his check. I'm sure he's got an NDA. He can't come back and tell it. And he's going to take his check and move on into the sunset. So I think that's all that's going on pretty much this week with the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And hopefully they can wrap up. But I think the season finale is coming up next week. So hopefully they can wrap this all up with a nice little bow tag. But I do see that they are cutting up on social media right now in real time. So they don't leave off amicably. But it looks like the season is wrapping up. So let me know what you think below. Also, side note, Porsha bought her mom a house. She sold the old house that she had, and she was able to pay cash and give her mom a house that was paid for. It's a nice little townhouse. It looks like big enough for just one person, and that's all she needs because she's only one person. It's very nice, big bedroom, big walk-in closet. It's perfect for one person. And her mother's ecstatic. The family celebrates. The end. Okay? Comment below, like, subscribe, etc., etc., so on and so forth.